Before we start, please insert the example data into MySQL. You need to download the files w3school.sql and model5datasource.sql, then run it in your MySQL. You need this data for both your practice and assignment.
Now let's see how to do this in the Excel. We can, in the MySQL, we can select all from the restaurant data and then copy paste all the data into a new Excel file. And don't forget about the column names. And then after we copy paste the data into the Excel, we can click the insert on the ribbon and then click pivot table button in the tables group. And when the create pivot table dialog box appears, we're gonna choose a select a table or range and enter A1 to D301 in the table range. And then select new worksheet as the location for the pivot table report and then click OK. And then in the pivot table field task pane, go to drag fields between area. We're going to drag the quality rating into the rows and then drag the meal price into the columns. And then we're going to drag the restaurant field to the values area. And then we click on the sum of the restaurant in the value area. And instead of summary, we select count because we don't want the number of the restaurant or just the IDs. We want we want to know amount of them instead of the summary of all the IDs. And then we have to create the bins, right? So we right click the any cells containing a meal price column and select group. And we enter 10 at start at, and we enter 49 in the end at box, and enter 10 in the buy. And then we right click, we click OK. And then last, we can right click on excellent and move it to the end so that we have the good, very good, and excellent ranking.
Now let's see how to do it in Tableau. So when you open a Tableau, you will see a panel on the left. So we will using the Excel we just created to work it in the Tableau. So we go here on the panel, click the Microsoft Excel. And then we will choose the Excel you just created, and it's right here. I called it the restaurant, and then so I open it. And after I open it, you will see this is the source. So I have the different column names, the file names here, and then I can see the original data right here. And now to walk into the Tableau to create the tables or graphs, we will choose the sheet, so worksheet right here. And we go to the sheet 1, and then here we can work on it. If you want to create a new one, you can click here on a new worksheet, and then we can do another one. Okay, so let's go to the sheet 1, and then you have to watch out right here. We have the data source. This is the data restaurant we just created. This is from the data source. And then later, if you want to do some other Tableau job, then you will have a new data source, and then so you need to check about right here to make sure that you have the correct data source.
Now we can see that the restaurant data the columns are all here. So if we want to create a cross tabulation like this, what we need to do is we should put the meal price and the quantity rating into the row and column. So we know that the quantity rating is the rows. So I put it here. So we can see that the quantity rating is rows here. And the meal price, since we want to create the bins, right? So we need right click the meal price, and you can tell that here the meal price are a number. So we need to change this. So we right click the meal price and then click create, and then create bins. So far we can see that this is the size of the bin generated by itself, based on the minimum and the maximum and the range. So what we can do is we can set the bins by ourselves, which is we can change it to 10 and click OK. So now we can see that here we have a new column called a feature called the meal price bin. And then we put this into the column. And now we see that here are like 4 groups, like 4 bins of the meal price. However, these are all empty yet, right? So we still has to put the meal price, the original data, into this ones. So we drag the meal price to the marks on the marks here and change this, the detail, to the text. So it's showing the value of the meal price. However, so far it's still not done yet. So far, the meal price are shown as the summary value. So we have to change the mirrors instead of the summary. We're going to change it to the count. And now you can see that this is the count of the meal price that with the count of the restaurants in the different groups of the meal price with the quantity rating, right? So then we can click the excellent and drag it down to the bottom, and so we can see that they are good, very good, and excellent. All right, so and you can do something else. For example, we can edit alias to from 10 to 19, and we can change this to 20 to 29. Same thing here, 30 to 39. And the last one is 40 to 49. Okay, so far this is the cross tabulation we just created. Furthermore, we can add the total value of the columns and rows. So by doing so, we can click the analytics and then find the totals and then drag the totals into the cross tabulation. And we can put in the row and we can put in the columns grand total. Okay, now let's see how to do it in Excel. So the same thing, we're using the stack all from the sales data to get all the information, the data of this table. And we select all, which is Control A, okay? And right click the copy rows with name tab separated. And then we open new blank cell and then Control V to copy everything. And now we highlight the Nottingham and then North, Nottingham and North, and then go Insert and click Scalar, and then click Scatter right here. And now we can add a trend line, which is in Chart Design. Add chart elements, and click the trend line, and we select the linear. And now we have the trend line here. And to remove the grids, we can also click add trend line, add chart elements, and we can see the gray line here. And this so far is select primary major horizontal and primary major vertical. So we're gonna click both of them to remove them. And now you have seen this one. And we can also change the line, format of this line by right click and format trend lines. And then if we want to change it to solid line, we can click right here, view and lines. And then if we don't like this dash type, we can change it to solid, and we can make it a bit wide, make it a little bit more fat or thinner. Okay, so you can do anything you want. And we can also change the color to the red or to the yellow as you want. Okay, so we're just gonna make it back. Same thing in a Tableau. We create a new Microsoft Excel using the Excel we just created, which is the sales data right now. Sales data here, and click open. and we'll see a new data source, which is called sales data. And then we go to a new worksheet, and now we're gonna keep working on this. We can drag the month to the columns and then drag the north to the rows. And instead of the sum, we will change it to the attribute. And so far it is not a scatter plot. So we can change right here, click the marks, click here, change the automatic to the circle. Okay, so now you can see these are the circles. So this is the scatter plot. However, if we want to add a trend line here, we can click the add next, and then, but there's no trend line. So the reason there's no trend line is because the x-axis are all text values like Jan, February, March. So the tableau itself cannot calculate this using the text value to calculate the trend line. So that's why we have another one called month number. So we will just using the month number and then change it to dimension and then remove the month. So now we have the scatter plot like this. And then we can go to the analytics to add the trend line. Drag here and then put it on a linear. So now we have a linear trend line right here. So this is how we created a scatter plot in Tableau using a trend line. And then what we can do is we can actually format. All right, we can actually format this to remove the gray lines, to improve the data ink ratio, right? So we can click the lines right here. And then, so if we go to, we can make this as a none, and then for the, and then it's all gone. So we don't have the gray line anymore. And if you want, you can change the x-axis name or y-axis name. Okay, so you can change that. So this is how we do the scatter plot in Tableau. Okay, to do the line charts, it's similar to the scatter plot. So what we can do is we can create this one, and then we can go to the insert, and then we can click scatter with straight lines and markers. So this is one way we can do. And another way is we click insert, and here there is a insert lines. Okay, let's see how this works. If we click insert line with the markers, they can tell that the month number are viewed as another numeric data, right? Well, it's create another line because it is a numeric data, so Excel that is another line. So it build up the three lines. Excel cannot recognize it as the x-axis, but if we hide this one, okay, so if we hide this one and using this, the text of the month, the string value of the month or text value of the month, then we click line and then we click this one, then it is automatically built up as this. So you can tell these two are similar, right? But this one, since the month is a kind of category, so it viewed this month as the x-axis. So there's a little bit difference. You can do the both way, or you can do the either way you prefer. But I'm just teaching you what are the two ways to do so. Okay. So we have a new sheet in Tableau, and then we're gonna drag the month num in the column, and then change this to dimension, and then we're gonna bring both north and south to the rows, and we're gonna change them to attribute. Okay, and now we have to combine these two graphs together, right? So there are two ways to do so. One is we can actually click this triangle and then drag them to the top. You can see that north and south. You can see the two rectangle, the green rectangle. So, and then I just like lose my mouse, and then so they combine together. Okay, this is one way. And to do this, we can just and then you can change the color so that you can see like the color is different. All right. And another way is we can right click, okay, on this rows, and then we'll click dual access, so they combine together automatically, and then with the colors. And to add the dot on these data points, we can click this little icon, the color icon. So we can click this color icon, and then now we go all. Okay, so we go all, and then click color, and we click the markers. And now you see that the markers is right there. All right. So this is how we do. To create a bar chart in Excel, we can use a count managed table from the MySQL. So we execute this query to get the data, and we select all and then copy the data into a new Excel file. And then when we have this data, we can highlight the column names and the data, and then click insert with the column input. And then we can click the 2D column to have the account management with the column bar chart. And then if you want to do a bar chart, we can change from 2D column to 2D bar. Then you see it is a bar chart. And then you can click the chart design, and then we can disable the gray lines. And then we can also add the labels here if we want to click the label at the outside end. So you will see there's a number right there. So this is how we created a bar chart in the Excel. And in Tableau, the same thing, we opened the Microsoft Excel we just created, which is the account managed. We open this file and then go to the new worksheet, and we can drag the manager's name into the column, and then account manager into the rows. So we will have a column chart. And if you want to have the bar chart, then we just change these numbers, change the location of the columns and rows, and then we will have a bar chart. So I personally like the column chart, so I will put it back. And if you want to have a label right here, we can move the account managed into these marks, and then change it to the labels. Then you will have a number on top. Now we copy paste all the time data, like all, and click this into the Excel. So we're gonna create the bins, and which is from 14, 10 to 14, 15 to 19, and 24, 29, and then 34. And now we can actually click data, and then click data analysis, click histogram right here, click OK. And we will add the input range. and bin range, which is here. And we will, under the output range, we're gonna click the new datasheet, and then we're gonna say chart output, and we click OK. So now we can have a new histogram in the Excel.